I'm back with part 3 of The Last Train. And let me tell you, this is where things get really interesting. If you haven't heard parts 1 and 2 yet, you might want to check those out first. But I'll catch you up real quick. So there I was, on this mysterious midnight train that shouldn't even exist, with a handful of other passengers who seemed just as lost and confused as I was. The fog outside was so thick you couldn't see anything beyond the windows, and that eerie silence, it was deafening. Here's where it gets weird. As we passed through what felt like the 100th tunnel, I noticed something about the other passengers. Their reflections in the window. They weren't matching up with their movements. Mrs. Chen, the elderly woman across from me, would lift her hand to adjust her glasses, but her reflection would do it a split second before she did. I thought I was losing my mind until I saw it happen with everyone else too. It was like their reflections were living a few moments ahead of reality. But that wasn't even the strangest part. About an hour into the journey, the train started making stops at stations that weren't on any map I'd ever seen. The names were familiar, but somehow wrong. Westbrook Heights became Westbrook Depths. Cherry Valley was now Buried Valley. At one stop, a man in an old-fashioned conductor's uniform entered our car. He wasn't the same conductor who had checked our tickets earlier. This one moved differently, almost like he was floating slightly above the floor. When he spoke, his voice seemed to echo from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Last stop approaching," he announced, but his lips weren't moving in sync with the words. "All passengers must decide." Decide what? Nobody dared to ask. But as the train slowed for what he called the last stop, every passenger, including me, felt this overwhelming sensation. It was like being pulled in two directions at once, one toward the door, and one deeper into our seats. That's when I realized this wasn't just any train. This was a crossing point, a place between places, and we all had a choice to make. What happened next? Well, that's a story that still gives me chills to this day. The choice I made in those final moments changed everything, not just for me, but for everyone on that impossible train. But you know what? Sometimes the strangest journeys lead us exactly where we need to go, even if it's not where we thought we were heading. And that night on the last train, it taught me that some questions are better left unanswered, while others demand that we face them head on, no matter how terrifying the truth might be.